Hey folks, how's it going? Chris here from Mod Extra Games and Collectibles, back with you again today for another collector's thoughts from the sofa. Even though I'm clearly not on the sofa, I'm on my desk chair at the desk. And the thought in my head today is about this McFarlane Toys leak list that I happened across while I was doom scrolling through the social media the other day. This is an interesting list. It got me excited, and then not so excited, and then just generated lots and lots of thoughts. So the first thing, I suppose, is that the legitimacy of this list is in question. Once I saw it and decided, I might want to talk about this on a video, I went away and had a look around some of the forums and Reddit, and I haven't seen this list come up anywhere else. Nobody's talking about it that I can find. It's not in any of the Discord groups I belong to that follow McFarlane Toys. So there is a question about this list's legitimacy, and as with these types of things, always you have to take with a pinch of salt. There is also one listed set of figures that gave me an enormous moment of doubt, and that's the Batman and Robin wave that's described in there. When I first saw the Batman and Robin wave listed, I got really excited because I'm a fan of the Frank Quitely, Grant Morrison Batman and Robin title with the Dick Grayson Batman and Damian Wayne Robin. And then as I read on, I realised that it lists Batgirl and Poison Ivy and a Builder figure, and had the dawning realization that brought me crashing down to earth that this isn't the Batman and Robin comic title, this is this bag of shit. Which gives me serious pause, because honestly, who's asking for this? Who's asking for a Batman and Robin action figure set? I mean, really? Really? Isn't it just universally accepted as the worst Batman cinematic property ever? Like, ever. And if the face sculpts on the Nolan trilogy figures that they've released of late are anything to go by, then the George Clooney and the Chris O'Donnell and Uma Thurman and Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'm assuming Mr. Freeze is going to be the Builder figure, or maybe the Poison Ivy version, the Poison Ivied up Bane. It's got to be Mr. Freeze, though, surely, hasn't it? But anyway, the head sculpts are probably going to be really bad. And that's, in fact, the item on the list that then made me doubt its legitimacy, because surely they're not doing a Batman and Robin wave for real? If it is legitimate, then there's a lot of things to get excited about on that list. Bearing in mind I'm focusing specifically on the DC stuff, I'm less interested in the Pacific Rim, Movie Maniacs, I'm just looking down here, Diablo, Disney Mirrorverse. Although the Sheldon in Flash costume, I'm interested to see what that looks like. And I'd be lying if I said that I hadn't been tempted by a Ted Lasso Movie Maniacs figure. Did catch my eye because I love that show. But the Midnighter's on there. You know, the Midnighter's a great character. I'm more familiar with him from the Wildstorm era days. I used to read The Authority when it was written by Warren Ellis and Brian Hitch. I'm less familiar with the character when the two universes combined, but really awesome character, very funny, like in a blackly comic way, which appeals to me. Quite surprised that a Midnighter is being done without an Apollo. Those two are both partners in the superhero team-up sense, but also partners in the sense of being life partners as well. So I'm quite surprised they're doing one but not the other. But the Midnighter is a great character, an interesting character, and one that would bring something a bit different to the DC Multiverse display for sure. Although, now I say it out aloud, there is a little seed of doubt in the back of my mind that the Midnighter is just the sort of character that Todd can sink his teeth into and Toddify it up and Spawnify it up and like really go for the spikes and chains element of the guy's costume and ruin it. I suppose time will tell. We don't even know if the list is legitimate yet, but time will tell on that one. But yeah, great to see a more kind of interesting, more obscure character coming out the woodwork that's been selected. And while I'm on the subject of interesting, obscure characters, somewhere up here on the list, there's a Wave Rider. A Wave Rider who, I think, unless you're a sort of dyed-in-the-cloth hardcore DC Comics reader, particularly through the 90s. I know the character most directly from reading titles in the 90s. Then Wave Rider will be a mystery to you. But that's a really interesting one. Very colourful character. Timey-wimey, time-travelling guy who has... well, last time I saw him was... He was involved with Booster Gold in Booster Gold's title, I seem to think, and Rip Hunter and all those guys. Could be wrong. Let me know in the comments down below if I've misremembered that. But yeah, interesting. And a Crisis on Infinite Earths Firestorm, and one of the things I've definitely been calling out for is more kind of classic look, traditional costume, kind of old school DC characters, which Firestorm is, and he'll look great with. Booster and Blue Beetle and the Captain Atom that's just recently come out. Well, I say just recently come out. My pre-order's not arrived, so I don't know where that's at. But yeah, that could really flesh out a kind of wider Justice League roster if you're into that kind of stuff, which I am definitely. Looks like there's a Superman wave in there as well, which includes a new Superman, a Brainiac, the Superman from Earth 2, which is like the one with the grey down the side of his head. A Ghost of Zod's on the list as well. I'm not sure what that's all about, Ghost of Zod. I'm thinking maybe a kind of Phantom Zone looking one. But a new Superman, I'll be watching that develop with interest, because while the Superman figures are all right, there's still just a little bit of Superman-y X factor missing, I feel, from McFarlane's sculpt so far. I think a lot of folks would say it's in the head sculpt. He's always looking really serious and grimacing and stuff, and we need something that's a bit more kind of, you know, the all-American boy in blue, Superman, the man of tomorrow kind of thing, with a bit more of a smile and uplift in the face, perhaps a little bit more bulk in the body to separate him from some of the other kind of Batman figures and such like that come out. But I'll be watching that one with interest. Not so much interested in, well, maybe Brainiac perhaps, but I don't know if I'd be bothered with an Earth 2 Superman or a Ghost of Zod. I'd have to see it. But while on the subject of Superman, there's a gold label version of the Superman vs. Doomsday set. Now, I'm pretty sure there's already a Superman vs. Doomsday set out and about. I looked at it many years ago, but kind of missed it because it was a good Superman sculpt in there. This is a gold label version, so there's going to be something different about that. But that was nice because it had a little diorama scene in it. So I suspect it will be the same sculpt as the previous set, but with a new twist or a new addition thrown in the mix. But yeah, it just caught my eye. But I'll tell you what else, folks, if this is a legitimate list, then one significant problem with it is the absence of female characters. Once again, Todd is not coming through for fans of female DC Comics characters. And this is a problem. This is becoming a big problem for me. Some of my most favourite DC Comics characters are female, and they're just being overlooked, which I suppose is consistent with his hugely idiotic and misguided comments on the Sharpmas Prime interview about his philosophy with regards to female characters in action figure form. But where's Hawk Girl? A decent Hawk Girl. Where's Black Canary, Huntress, Vixen? You know, these are great characters that are being wildly overlooked. A decent Zatanna. Zatanna, we need a good Zatanna in the line. A proper Wonder Woman. I'm still of the opinion that we've not had an acceptable quality Wonder Woman. And my holy trinity up here, is missing its third element, which is Wonder Woman. And it's not cool, Todd. I mean, I know you'll never watch my video, but it's not cool. This is a problem. And I hope something changes soon, because you've just had your license renewed. And surely, Warner Brothers are eager to, you know, get some of their best female characters out in action figure form. I don't know. It's concerning. The absence of female characters in there is very concerning. Except for the movie tie-in ones, which you'll probably do a botched job of. Anyway, and no one will buy, because again, I'll ask, who asked for a Batman and Robin wave? Oh my eye. But getting to the point, because I got all a little bit more wrapped up in what's on the list itself rather than talking about the idea of leaking upcoming release lists, because that's the thing I wanted to talk about. No idea how legitimate this is. We've definitely seen Excel spreadsheet screenshots of pre-order forms for distributors and retailers hit the internet, and they've proven to be legitimate, they've been proven to be accurate, and everything that was listed came out. So that's could well possibly be the case here again. But then also, an Excel spreadsheet is really easy to forge, so it could just be a hoax, although that's kind of the question that's on my mind. So whenever one of these leaked lists or a photo of a G.I. Joe Classified series box comes out and folks are hitting the comments, close inspecting it, or I think it's photoshopped or it's a forgery or whatever, I am often presented with the question of why? Why would anyone go? Like, is the enjoyment of pulling the wool over everyone's eyes for however long they may actually succeed in pulling the wool over everybody's eyes, is the enjoyment, is the buzz of excitement they get from that worth the effort and the energy and the time to create forgeries that could create, pull the wool over folks' eyes? I don't really understand the motivation there. Perhaps someone could enlighten me as to what the driving force is around that. But then I'm also led to wonder about the the spoilers of this nature, leaked spoilers of this nature, I mean, this is just names on a list, isn't it? It's not actual sight of the figures. In the G.I. Joe Classified series side of things, we get sight of the figures sometimes when we get little early peeks. And Marvel Legends, we've had sight of early peeks of figures. But are they a good thing or are they a bad thing? Now, I'm sat here, like, really excited, thinking, oh, yeah, I'd love to pick up a Midnighter. Oh, yeah, a Firestorm to go with me growing little Justice League thing that I'm trying to build. Yeah, that'd be sweet. I'm looking forward to that, getting excited. But these aren't... the spreadsheet says deadline June, ETA December 2023. So months and months and months away yet. So is it a good thing or a bad thing? Because I'm kind of had a little reinvigoration of excitement about the DC Multiverse line, which frankly I've not been excited about for at least 2 months, 3 months or so now. The last stuff I had was the Nightfall Catwoman and the Jim Lee Hush Batman. So how long ago was that? 8 weeks? About 2 months perhaps even longer. So I've had a little reinvigoration of excitement around the line that this leak has given me, but I'm not going to feel the real, tangible excitement for 6 months yet, and probably even longer. You know, probably even longer. Like I say, I've got pre-orders, DC Multiverse pre-orders that still haven't landed that were due last month, I think, or certainly earlier this month in June. So are they a good thing? I don't know, and that's the point of debate, and I'd love your perspective on it, dear Mod Extra Games and Collectibles viewer. Drop down in the comments, let me know. Do you like leaks like this? Do you avoid them? Do you think they're a good thing? Do you think they're a bad thing? Do they help? Do they hinder? I'm thinking they're probably more of a hindrance at this point. More of a hindrance, because it's like name-only reveals. I said this when reviewing some G.I. Joe Classified streams a while ago. I said the name-only reveals, they kind of wash over me. I forget them. They're meaningless. They don't have anything that I can grasp onto when I get them, and it's not until a figure is put on the screen in front of me or photographed and marketed through Instagram or whatever that is actually meaningful, and leak lists like this can be a bit like that. But it did switch me on, and I definitely went and had a peek and a look around, and I'm like, Aquaman Movie 2 tie-in, not for me, thanks. A Wave Rider? Really? A Midnighter with no Apollo? You know, I was definitely engaging with it. But I do broadly think it's perhaps a bit of a hindrance, but I'm curious to know what you folks think. And, you know, because I couldn't help myself talking about the content of the actual list, if you're a DC Multiverse collector or a DC Multiverse fan, anything in there catch your eye? Anything that you fancy picking up? Anything you're as confuddled about? Are you the person that Todd is making the Batman and Robin movie Wave 4? Or do you agree with me? Is the presence of that on the list sowing the seeds of doubt as to the list's legitimacy? Because, again, I'll reiterate, who asked for that? So there you go. Aimless ramble of collectors' thoughts on a sofa, not actually on a sofa, once again today. Just, yeah, get in conversation, drop into the comments down below. I never know how to finish these videos and end up rambling on too long, so I'm just going to stop talking now and say thanks for watching, and I'll see you around, folks. Ta-ra!